Hello and welcome back to another out-of-spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. Today is a little bit of a bittersweet day. Next to me here is my 2023 Tesla Model 3 Performance that I have genuinely loved every single day since the day that I purchased it. But in today's video, we're actually getting this thing ready to be traded in and sold, which is pretty sad. I grow attachments to cars. They become more than just an appliance for me. I think a lot of people would just look at a Model 3 and go, oh, that's just an appliance. For me, it's about the experiences that you get to have with these cars, the drives, the different connections you share with people that you meet along the way of ownership of a vehicle and getting to experience vehicles in a very different way. So in today's video, it's going to be a little bit different from our normal Nerd Level 9000 detailing, testing, playing with all the detailing chemicals and tools in the world, because we got to put this thing actually back to stock. We'll probably give this thing a bath before it actually goes back, so maybe I'll include that in today's video. But nonetheless, we got to get this thing back to stock so we can trade it in for something just a little bit better. Welcome back, and let's jump into it. I purchased this car back in October of 2023, and honestly, I'm so glad I did. Like I said, this has genuinely been the best car I have ever owned. The Model 3 suits what I love in a car so very much. This car has a great spider web of capabilities. No, this is not going to be something you're going to be able to really take off-road and go, crawl over boulders and things like that, nor is it going to have the most amount of space. But for my use case, the Model 3 is really all I ever need. This thing is just an absolute missile on a back road. But then I can also pick up my wife and take her to dinner and her not complain about how loud this car is and not have to deal with having a combustion engine up front that honestly isn't really that inspiring. This thing has just been great. Now, when I actually purchased this car, this was my second Tesla. At the time, I had a white Model 3 long range, of which I leased from Tesla. Now, when I originally got the old white car, I really couldn't afford a Model 3 Performance. At the time, pricing was crazy. It was already at the top of my budget, so I said, okay, this being my first EV, let's go with the long range. Let's get all the charging and road tripping and all of that stuff figured out. Then, of course, becoming more one-in-one with the out-of-spec team, I naturally decided, okay, we need to get the performance version because, yeah, they're just freaking awesome, aren't they? And man, what a deal I actually got on this car. So at the time, this was still during the big amount of state tax credits here in Colorado, as well as, of course, the federal tax credits. Now, the tax credits were different than they are now. Basically, now you take tax credits at point of sale. At the time, you would do this during the following year of your taxes, which as a small business owner was like, okay, do I have this huge tax liability or do I buy a new car and bring down my tax bill? Obviously, you can tell what I did in that situation. This car was just such an insane deal, and honestly, even to this day, is still an insane deal. So at the time, Model 3 Performance was about $55,000 with this particular spec. It fell right under the total price cap. Same thing that goes on now, it's very color dependent and things like that. So I believe this car was $54,990 with the upgraded white interior. Midnight Silver Metallic was actually the free color. Now the weird thing about this car is it was very fresh at Tesla Loveland, like had just come in a couple of days before I really started looking at this car. And the weird thing about it, it had a huge inventory discount on it. I think that was at the time that new Model 3 was rumored to be coming out, may have already launched, but not the performance version. So I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna get this thing because it was a screaming deal. They basically took $7,000 off the MSRP of this car, so it came down to $48,000. Now, again, remember at the time, I also get a $7,500 federal tax credit and also get a $5,000 state tax credit, bringing this thing to literally mid to kind of middle high $30,000 range, which is insane for a 3.1 0 to 60 car, 300 miles of range, the amazing software, amazing charging network in this thing. I really couldn't say no at the time. So I really had two Model 3s and ended up driving this one because my old white one was kind of over on mileage. Didn't want to pay a bunch of extra credits on that and all that fun stuff. So this had been the toy. Nonetheless, man, I've loved this car. So it's a little sad to say goodbye to this thing, but in today's video, like I said, we're going to be doing some modifications, or really putting it back to stock. As you can see, we've got the beautiful bronze Martian MW05s. I've had these wheels for years. They were on my old white Model 3 long range, on this car, and then, I don't know, maybe they'll fit on the new car. More to come in the next couple of videos. We also have got the full Mountain Pass Performance Sport coilover suspension on this thing. So that's really going to be the big project of today, is putting this suspension back to stock. So not the most fun day, but we still got to do it. In terms of other modifications on this car, there's not a whole heck of a lot of things I did. You'll see up here we've got the black emblems. I'm going to leave those alone. I think those will be acceptable. Trading into Tesla, man, they are a little bit nitpicky. I actually heard my friend Jeebs, his camera guy, I believe, got a new Model 3 Highland, and he was trading it in for a Model Y Juniper. He put a performance spoiler on it, and they dinged him $500 to have a spoiler on it. So fingers crossed we don't run into that situation when trading this thing in. A few other mods that I had on this car, I had matte carbon fiber mirror caps, of which I've already removed, and then just a few small things inside as well. So I already had some Alcantara bits like up here. I'm actually probably going to leave this thing on. I know they may ding me a little bit on that, but probably going to leave that alone. We also had Alcantara here, of which I removed, on the armrest, of which I removed, and on the steering wheel. Now, what I actually did is my dad has a white 2023 Tesla Model 3 Performance, and I actually took his steering wheel and his armrest, basically swapped them with the Alcantara ones, because he actually really liked those. So that was an easy trade. He got a nice little upgrade, and yeah, we're good to go. Few other things I had. This cable here, as you can see, was actually an ambient lighting strip for the Legacy Model 3s. Basically went in this air vent here. Really actually like this, because in these cars you have zero ambient lighting. So driving down the road at night, you really have nothing. It feels very sparse inside the car. This very much helped that. So this is all the controller and things like that down there for it. You can also see we've got sexy buttons up here on the dash, which those were not the original placement of them, but I've already removed the commander as well as those. If you didn't know, this is not a sponsored deal. These are literally the best things freaking ever for a Tesla. Allows so much more functionality throughout the car, as well as just different things you can do with these buttons, as well as the app. So I had a few of these buttons for a few different things. I actually had them in my center console here, or on the armrest, so where I could just press them. One was to actually open the glove box, so I didn't have to go through the menu. The other one was to put the car in track mode. So I'd put the car in park, hit that one button, back into drive, boom, you're in track mode. The other thing, which was kind of the best thing that I've ever done, was actually put these on the back of the steering wheel. So I actually put them on the right side. Me being one-handed, I really don't even love using stocks for turn signals because I have to reach my hand over and go up or down on it. Here, I basically just had it on the back of the steering wheel. It was absolutely incredible, and they really worked flawlessly. So, you know, even if I were to get a Cybertruck, a Model X, a Model S, even, I guess, new Model 3 Performance or any of the other Model 3s, I could put the sexy buttons on the back there and not have to deal with the steering wheel buttons that are on the wrong side for me. So that was really, really good. Other couple of things we've done. This I'm actually going to leave. This is one of the light up door sills. So if I close this, open it back up here, you can see this little thing lights up, which I've always very loved. This is just a nice subtle thing, especially at night. It's just a light glow through there. This actually doesn't hook into like a wiring harness, if you didn't know this. It's literally just like a little key fob battery, and it stays on for like 30 seconds and then automatically shuts off. There's like a magnet under the door here to tell it when to go on. It's pretty cool. The only other things that we're going to be taking off are these down here. The puddle lights, we'll put the factory ones back on. And honestly, that's really about it. Again, back here, The emblems are gonna stay black on here. Hopefully they're not too panicked about that, but when you pull dual motor badges off, yeah, not the easiest thing to do. I don't really think we have anything else that is modified on here. Definitely gonna take the mats out of this car, put all the factory mats in, but man, yeah, little bit of a sad day here, but it's gonna be a little bit hard work. So I'm gonna get this thing up on the lift here, and we're gonna start tearing into the suspension. So we've got the car up on the lift now, pulled the entire front trunk tub area out. Reason being is we need to get to here to actually remove these 3 bolts to actually drop down the front suspension. Now I'm going to start on the rear because the rear is definitely the easiest. So back here you can see the full mountain pass damper. You have rebound adjustments. Down there you have more adjustments. I also forgot the rear camber arms. Fingers crossed those are somewhere upstairs. So we got to pull the strut out, the spring out, these out. And then I also forgot about the spacers. So spacers on here. One thing I'm going to tell you on Model 3s in general, or Teslas in general, or any car in general, make sure you buy high quality spacers. I had another set on my last car that were cheap, and basically what ended up happening is they used very soft aluminum nuts on here, and all the nuts basically stripped, so couldn't actually get the spacers off. It was really annoying. These from Bonos are amazing. Yes, they're expensive, but you can easily take them off. Not worried about having issues with that. So let's jump into getting the suspension removed. The rear, again, fingers crossed. Anytime you work on a car, I'm thinking like, oh, the rear is gonna take me 2 hours. It could take 6. So fingers crossed that's not the way today. Should be pretty straightforward. Mr. Oliver is of course hard at work again here at the shop, but man, we are making some actually pretty good progress here. So we've got the whole rear suspension fully done already. Honestly, about 45 minutes a corner, which I would say is not too terribly bad. So let me quickly run you through here a couple of things because yeah, wasn't the easiest thing. This is never easy working on your own. Doing this one-handed is like almost next to impossible, but got it figured out, got it worked. One of the hardest things is always getting this whole kind of, I don't know what they call this actual piece, but this whole kind of cradle down here. You can see where it bolts up to basically that spring perch there. It is just like a geometry problem because this thing's trying to go this way, but it needs to go this way and down, but this needs to go up. Very handy to use a jack stand with an extension on there so you can basically get that spring compressed and then get everything seated in there. So looking pretty darn good. So we've got the OEM spring in there, OEM damper. Funny enough, these components in here, basically the control arm or your camber arm here, your damper and your spring, I think these have like less than 1,000 miles on them because I basically pulled them off immediately when I got this car. And we also got the spacers removed. Still need to find the little 10 or 8 mil bolt. I don't remember exactly what it is that goes there. I've got it somewhere in my parts area. But next we get to the fun. And that's the front suspension up here. So this one's a little bit more involved. It's not terrible. The only thing I hate about doing this is we actually have to get spring compressor to basically pull the top hat off of the Mountain Pass suspension here and put it back onto the OEM one. It's a little sketchy, hate doing this, but I think we'll be okay. Also, quick tip, if you have a Model 3 here and need a basically custom size fitting that goes in here because a normal, I don't remember what size it is at this point, but they actually make one on Amazon that's magnetic. It's freaking amazing. I'll leave it in the link in the description below. Will massively help you with doing suspension so you don't have to take out the entire upper cradle, which is a massive pain in the butt. But if you haven't seen under here, it's actually pretty cool to see what's going on. So let's get the front wheels off. We'll start on the suspension on the front. Pretty happy with how the rear went. This is not going to be as fun. Well, I skipped a lot of stuff in filming, but here we are about 2.5 hours later, and take a look at this. Suspension back in the car. Wow, that went honestly a heck of a lot better than I really expected to. The fronts really sucked. Yeah, not super fun at all. Really fought spring compressors. I hate dealing with them. At some point, I need to like buy a legit spring compressor that I can have here at the shop, but it's not like I do suspension every single day. But man, it is surely not fun to do. So that was, yeah, genuinely the biggest headache. This spring is insane. It looks quite small when it's in the car. When you get all of the pressure off of that, it's insane how big it is. I think I had to compress that spring maybe 5 to 6 inches to get that top hat on. Absolutely nuts. Now, that top hat that you'll see sitting way up there that bolts basically up into here, you actually use that with the Mountain Pass Performance Kit. So I had to take those off and then put them back on. So if you're curious over here, sorry for the mess. This is the most unorganized I ever am when I do any working on the cars. The factory top hats are off of these and off of the rear. So I swapped all those over, and yeah, these actually came out quite a bit easier than I anticipated, but holy cow, we are pretty much done here. Now, the next couple of things I need to go through, nut and bolt the suspension. I always like to torque everything to spec, so I've got a full guide of exactly what needs to be torqued to what foot-pounds, and we'll make sure it's all good. So especially if you're doing ever suspension like this, especially those lower bolts, kind of hard to see down there, one down there, two at the rear, you always want to have the suspension basically at normal ride height. So what you can do, put a jack under there, then torque them to spec. That's the right way to do it. Again, it's not necessarily my responsibility, I would say, quote unquote, to get it like perfect torque spec. I just feel more comfortable, and I'll sleep better at night knowing that I gave Tesla back a car that all the nuts and bolts are tight on and not just gonna fall out the first time somebody drives it. So that's looking good. We got the spacers off of the front. Again, still need to find the nuts there. I'll figure out where those go. Need to put the tub back in, need to torque all these bolts. So again, go through all of that. Now, one thing I want to talk about over here is wheels. So these are my Martian MW05s in satin bronze. These are basically factory Model 3 performance specs. So running a 235/35/20 tire on this. Obviously ditched the P0s, which are garbage tires. Sorry. The PS4S's really woke this car up. These are actually, interestingly enough, Tesla T0 spec tires right here. So I believe these were like an older tire, but they actually are not old tires. When I purchased these, they were brand new as per the date code. So 37th week of 2023 on these. So I've had these tires for a while. I drive this car pretty damn hard, and I'm really surprised at how well the tread is holding up there. Also, say hi to the goodest boy ever. He's being a really good boy today. Okay, next for the mess over here. So these are the wheels we're actually going to be putting back on the car. So these are actually fresh P0s that I bought for the Model 3 Performance way early on. These were a spare set. Somebody had these on Facebook Marketplace. They literally took them off the car within like 1,000 miles. So yeah, basically getting very fresh tires, which is always good. Now these wheels used to actually be mine. These were my dad's winter wheels, so we had to take the Hakas off of those, put the summer tires back on here, the spare that I had. I really don't like these tires anyway, so I don't really feel bad about, you know, giving them away back to Tesla. I think they'll be happy with fresh tires on it, so that'll be good. Yeah, holy cow, what a day. I am freaking beat. But in all honesty, man, this went really well. So all in all, I think I'm about 5 or so hours basically on the nose, start to finish on the suspension here. Now, I still need to torque everything, but the suspension is back in. All the hard bits are done. Honestly, I think that's pretty good. I think most shops, this is kind of like a 3 to 4 hour job, an hour per corner. I would say doing that by myself is actually pretty damn good, especially for somebody who does not wrench every single day. So, man, it's gonna be a little sad to see this thing down on the ground in full 4x4 mode. But here we are. So let's get the wheels tossed back on this. Well guys, we have finished up with my Model 3 Performance here, and I got to be totally honest, this thing looks terrible right now. Wow, holy lift kit on this thing. I cannot believe this is how the quote-unquote performance suspension is actually like. I have not seen this car lifted like this in a very long time. It looks very strange, very weird. Yikes. Don't really love the Uber turbines on this either. Pretty wild to see this. So we are now basically back to 100% stock, other than the front emblem, rear emblem, and as well as the dual motor performance badge. But holy cow, that wheel gap, that is pretty excessive to say the least. Insane. Wow. Honestly, looking at the car like this, I'm not really that sad to get rid of it. It looks so much better lowered, so much better on the Martian wheels. Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad we're getting rid of this thing, because I could not drive this around like this. Sorry, I know a lot of people do, but I'm just not into the 4x4 mode. So anyways, off camera, a few things that I actually did. Went through, quickly vacuumed the interior, also quickly wipe down some smudges and things like that. This thing looks freaking brand new inside. I think these mats I literally drove from Tesla Loveland back to here at the shop and immediately took them out of them. So they're brand new mats. I mean, I take care of my stuff, so it's not necessarily a surprise. The car is very dusty. You can see all the dog hair on this thing right now, but yeah, back here, it looks like a brand new car. Pretty crazy. This thing has roughly, I think 14,000, maybe 15,000 miles on it at this point. Did an amazing road trip with this thing down to Alabama. If you guys watch that on the Out of Spec Motoring channel, that was a great trip. Really had fun with my customer, Michael, down in Alabama, detailing his cars. Really, really enjoyed it. One last thing I want to show you guys here. If you are interested in picking this car up, and notice you, or if you get this car, and this is the actual VIN of it. So I'm curious to see where this car goes. Maybe a viewer will purchase it. Not exactly sure. Maybe it'll be an Uber or something like that. Have no idea, but it's been a really fun time with this car. But man, seeing it like this, wow. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks terrible. It looks like it has a full lift kit on it. Man, pretty freaking wild. Anyways, it's been fun. Next, what I'm going to do right after this is actually take all my photos of this car. Now, the reason I'm taking photos is because I'm trading this into Tesla. So yes, that means I'm getting another Tesla. Do you have any guesses what I'm getting? Probably some of you know at this point, maybe don't know exactly what trim, what spec, what colors, all of that fun stuff. Nonetheless, it's been fun with the Midnight Silver Metallic 2023 Model 3 Performance. Hopefully this video was interesting. If not, that's okay. We'll see you in the next one soon. Bye-bye.